Hey everybody, welcome to On Grade. This is episode 9. I am joined in studio by a familiar face and well-known individual here in the North Texas region, Mr. Doc Cash Robinson. What is going on, bro?
Oh, not much. Just enjoying the heat and dry. Finally dry.
Finally dry. It's like Arizona around here, finally.
Yeah.
So, for anyone listening that hasn't really listened to the show when it first got started, me and Doc recorded our first episode at my old studio, and we had non-matching mics, non-matching headsets. Stephanie had to stand up every 15 minutes, I think, to turn the cameras on and off, and we had to take like 5 pee breaks. It was a great time, brother.
Yep.
So check that episode out, guys. Episode 6. The sound is absolutely fucking horrid. I'm going to let you know up front. That was back before I knew anything about podcasting.
Better than my setup. I don't have a setup.
I don't have it set up. I got a fucking gym, bitch.
Yeah, it's cheaper just be a guest. So I've been told.
Yeah, you sure as fuck don't make no money doing this shit. What are you talking about? Well, anyways, guys, a little bit about Doc. Doc owns Dirt Guy Excavation out of Whitesboro, Texas, which is north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but he's actually very close to where I grew up in Sanger. We've known each other for years, but we've known a lot of people that know each. It's funny that you and me have never actually met until like 5 years ago because we've known so many people growing up that are the same
6 years ago, 2018 or 17.
Yeah, 6 years ago, yeah. But I was thinking about that when you called me earlier. I was like, I was like, he lives in Whitesboro. My best friend's nephew is a lineman in Whitesboro. He probably knows him. But he moved back to Denton, so I don't know. Maybe not now, but he was over there. So quiet. What's going on?
Oh, living the dream. Pushing dirt. It's a nightmarish dream, but
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, someone's got to do it.
So, anyways, anyone else around the country, there's this thing happening down here right now that we have hesitantly talked about. But we had a boom here. What was that, about 2 years ago? Maybe 3? It really started?
The boom hit for me during COVID.
Yeah, me too. But, I mean, it ran till probably, last year? End of last year?
I would say probably the most profit or the best profit. Last good year profit is 22.
Yeah.
In my business, 23 was
it was
freaking
garbage.
horrid. Yeah.
It was garbage. The problem was, guys, we had an inundation of people moving here after COVID because of the restrictions and stuff here in Texas. And so they started building a lot of crap. And of course, people were like, hey, I can start a construction company and make a lot of money. And now the work slowed down to normal. It's not really any more busy than would be a normal year. It's just there's too many contractors now.
Yeah.
And so it's a fight to the bottom.
Well, and then inflation, I feel like, has a big portion in that. I mean, I know people, on the fence of that, like, how bad is it? Well, if you ask anyone in construction that buys material and everything else or paying for employees, it's a hell of a lot more than it was 2 years ago.
I think of the trucking companies. I think of that Indian dude that they got the meme of with the gold chain. That's what I imagine all the trucking company owners look like right now, blinging out, driving their GTRs and shit.
I don't know about over-road trucking, but I can tell you.
Oh, I meant like our dump truck guys, the guys hauling material for us.
I don't know. I own dump trucks hauling material, and I can tell you, you would make so good, and then you get a truck repair. I had 1 month. I think I was talking this with Rhett. I think I had 1 month. I had to pay about $100,000 in trucking repairs.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah.
Dear God.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was like, damn, I could just put a down payment on 5 trucks and got rid of these pieces of shit.
I could have a brand new 389 right now.
I had 7 trucks just rolling nonstop, and it just seemed like you had to own 7 to keep 3 going.
Everybody I know says that though. Like trucking's one of those things. Like you gotta really, if you're gonna do it, you just gotta go all the way into it. It's not one of those. Oh, just buy 1 or 2. Like no.
Yeah.
You want to make any money, you gotta have a lot of trucks.
Oh yeah. Well, a guy that's been trucking for us for years and years. He trucked for my dad, and he owns CGA Enterprises out of Collinsville. He's got those super dumps, those big long, and it's 7-axle dump truck, hauls 25, 27 tons. And I swear he was like the first one in this area to have them, and now you see them all over the place.
Yeah, I know that.
But he was telling me, he goes, you either got to have 3 or 300. You can't have that in between. He goes, 3 to 5, nice. You get 10 to 12, you got problems. You get 30, you got problems. You get 100, problems go away.
Yeah. You know, I will say this. I think it's kind of the same thing with companies too, though. Dirt companies, man. Like I noticed that it, like, especially what happened with me. You know, I grew.
Yep.
And I got up to like 25 guys. And I swear I had more headaches than I've ever dealt with in my life. And I felt like I was making less money.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody's like, man, I see you out there, man. You guys are killing it, dude. And I'm like, yeah, we didn't make shit on that job. Like, and I'm looking at P&Ls and I'm like, I'm really not making any more money. No. It's all going to payroll. It's going to repairs. It's going to some other bullshit.
Yeah.
Sure as hell ain't going in the kitty.
No.
and it's like, you know, and then, you know, you get behind with everybody and everybody's up your ass. Hey, man, you know, I need this paid. And it's like, I got to make a $50,000 payroll this week. How the hell am I supposed to do that? You know, and it's like, now I'm back to where I was when you and I first met. I got 6 guys and it's like, whew, I can breathe.
I had that same problem, but my issue was I was not going to sacrifice our reputation on how we pull a quality product, because when you get to the size and you're trying to manage it, it doesn't matter how well you manage it if you can't. Well, I guess, I mean, there's a couple of companies that can argue with me, but in my experience, it was a pain in the butt to constantly keep tabs on everybody on each job site and make sure they're doing their job. Because you can pay them what they want, but they still half-ass it, and then they send you pictures, and you're like, man, what the hell? Go finish it. Like, it's finished. It's pushed my... And I'm like, that's not part of it. The crumbs, the little ridges, your tracks that you left, at least get shoveled. You know, just... It's a standard, and we weren't holding the standard anymore. And I was like, you know what? I'd rather be small and be nothing than to have my name out there as a second-rate contractor.
The saddest part is when you're small, you actually can have a better quality product. You honestly can make a better living as an owner. You can pay yourself actually better, which is nuts. People are like, what? That makes no sense. It's like, really, you think about it, you're charging... You're not charging any differently. You just don't have as many tractors you got to take care of.
Yep.
The maintenance bill goes down. You don't have as much payroll taxes. You don't have as much, you know, you don't have as much nearly
personal property tax.
Yeah, you don't have as much crap to deal with as you would having 20 to 25 machines.
Yeah.
Now, there's a caveat to that. It's almost like you need to either have 300 or have 5. Because if you're in between those two, it just seems like you can't make any money. And I don't know what that's about. I don't know if it's the cyclical things, because, you know, you got 300 machines. You're probably on any
10 jobs.
Yeah, at any given point in time.
Yeah.
You're at 50 jobs, you know, at least, you know, and you've always got something coming in.
Yeah.
You know, because you're billing 50 jobs every month. Okay, yes, statistically, you should be getting a check weekly on something.
Yeah.
So you're covering your nut, at least. Usually, you know, you should be moving enough dirt that you're covering your costs. But when you're smaller, it's kind of the same concept. You only got so much payroll that you kind of can strategize in your brain and go, okay, I got 7 guys. If they work 6-day weeks, 58-hour weeks, it's going to be about this much.
Yeah.
Roughly, with taxes. I'll be in this ballpark. And usually you set it a higher number. And you do it for 4 weeks. And you know, okay, this is how much I need for payroll. Fuel, you kind of, you have your same machines. You only got 7 or 8 machines, so you know how much the burn rate is on them. You know, hey, I'm burning, they're running real hard this week, I'm running $500 a day in fuel.
Yeah.
If they're not running that hard, I'm burning $350. So it's like you kind of can get in a rhythm where you know, hey, no matter what I do, I got to bill this much money this month.
Yeah.
Or I'm not paying the bills.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're in the mid-size, I noticed it seems like there's just so much shit that can get screwed up in 2 seconds. Like you get, you get foremans, and then you get a superintendent, and then you get a project manager, and you're communicating all this shit, but it's getting siphoned as it goes down. So by the time it gets to the guys, it's like playing telephone.
Yep.
You say telephone, by the time it gets to the guy, he's saying E. And that's all it is. So I think that's what happens. Like, you're not really in a position where, and when you're in these huge companies, I don't know how to say this without saying it, you can afford to pay people that have the competency to own their own business, just choose not to.
Well, that's true.
And they're going to take more pride in the job, and they're going to take more pride in what they're doing versus someone that is mid-level, been in the game 10 years, 15 years. They're kind of burned out. They just don't give a fuck. You know, writing's on the wall. They're just, I'm going to ride this thing till it breaks.
Yep.
And I've heard guys say that. I've flat out worked with guys that said, I'm going to ride this bitch till it fucking breaks. And I'm like, dude, that is a fucked up ass mentality. You don't want to see the company grow? Oh, well, they don't give a shit about me. What makes you say that? Oh, because, last year they didn't give me a bonus. They had a $2 million fucking loss last year. Luckily, you have a job, dipshit. Like, I mean, it's just, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to beat a dead horse.
Well,
here.
it's like Jocko's little saying where he's like, good. It's like, you didn't get that bonus? Good. Work harder. Try to get it next year. You know what I mean? Like, it's a mindset you got to have for yourself. Otherwise, you just get in a different mindset where all you do is drink and fucking bitch and moan over shit that don't matter. Like, it's not going to make your life better to bitch and moan about something, because in my personal opinion, I said this since I was 18 or 19, if you got time to bitch and moan, you got time to do something about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get pissy about that. Like, no, you don't understand my problems. Oh, no, I don't, but I can tell you one thing I always got my problems through is fucking figuring out the way to deal with it, whether that's work or whatever. But
Devin says this all the time, and it's true. You hit a wall, and you either break through it or you go around it. And that's what a lot of people have a problem with, like non-owners.
Yeah.
I think everybody that owns a business eventually figures that out. I think, in the beginning, you're kind of like overwhelmed. You throw your hands up. I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. Well, you find a way, because guess what? No matter what happens, somebody's going to give you a job. You're going to get the number right one time. You're going to get a job.
yeah.
Your guys are shit. Guess what? There's this wonderful thing called call people and say, hey, do you know any good operators? Hey, word of mouth's the best thing, man, with anything. Business, equipment. You want to find a good rental company, reach out. Don't just call the rental companies. Call people that rent equipment all the time.
Yeah.
Who treats you the best? You're going to pay a little more, but they take care of you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Fuel. Who's your best fuel guy? Hey, if I need a hot shot of fuel, I need 300 gallons out here right now. Who's going to take care of me? Or who's going to be like, oh, well, I can go take it down the street to the big box excavation contractor who's going to buy 45,000 gallons of fuel from me this week.
Yeah.
You need 300? Yeah. Small potatoes. I'm not worried about you. It's all the same.
Yeah.
It's the same concept.
I also think word of mouth and then accidental encounters too. Like I was pricing a job down in Tomball, and it's a good thing I didn't get that job because I kept feeling like that GC was a fucking sleazeball, and I hope he hears this because he is a fucking sleazeball. But
was it Better Call Saul quality sleazeball?
Fuck, I wish that would have been a little better, bit more entertaining. This motherfucker. I'll show you emails after we're done with this here, and you tell me how you feel about them.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, like long story short, I gave that man a bid, and he never responded. And then I was like, hey man, you said, well, he responded and said, man, it looks good. I'll let you know when we start. We're supposed to start in like 2-3 weeks. Well, 4 weeks passed by. I'm like, we starting? In the back of my mind, I'm like, this motherfucker's full of shit. He ain't got the job, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, we went with someone else. I gave you the red carpet to do all these car washes, and you fucked it all up, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay. So I messaged the guy that led me on to him. I was like, I kept feeling like this motherfucker's sleazeball. I would buy him beware. And then, lo and behold, he goes down there and does a job, and then all of a sudden he's texting me about 6 months later going, this motherfucker ain't paid me, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, called it. But anyways, accidental encounters. I was calling a rental company down there because I was like, well, let me see what I can get, because I ain't going to move all my shit down there, but I can move my motor grader and a couple other things, but I ain't going to spend $15,000 to move shit down there and move it back.
Yeah,
you know
no
what I mean?
shit.
So I called a company, H&E Equipment. I've never heard of them before. And me and this guy, Tyler, I get with him, and he's like, even though I'm down here, I can rent you anything in the country. And I was like, okay. And so far, besides Bob Ward Equipment and a couple other rental companies that I deal with, he might be up there with one of the most favorite ones I got to deal with. And apparently it's a big name brand rental company I didn't hear about. Like, I guess I got a store in Louisville. But that, I text him, I get something literally same day, next day, or within that week. Like, I ain't got to sweat about it. If I have problems, I text him, he gets it done. I'm like, you know what? Even though I had to deal with sleazeball, it ended up pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice little accidental encounters starting to benefit me.
That was like me. I did this really fucked up job a couple years ago, and I did it with this really good concrete company. And they got me onto a bunch of good work, man. Like that they had been doing for years, and they're like, these guys finish the best out of anybody we've dealt with. Like, we want them on the next job. And we just started getting calls from people, and they're like, hey, they're saying you need to do our dirt work. And I'm like, cool. And so if they're vouching, I know they're legit. And I mean, so like you said, you never know what might happen. You could be having the worst fucking day ever, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call, and they're like, hey, we're giving you this contract. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
dude, we totally overbid that job. Hell yeah. You know, like it's one of those you like.
Or so you think, and then they tell you,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, you're $100,000 cheaper than this other guy. You're like, wait a minute.
It's like that scene from War Dogs when they're sitting there and they're like, we got to tell you that was probably one of the best bids we've ever seen. And he's like, what do you, Jonah Hill's character's like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? He's like, well, we're not really supposed to tell you this, but you're $100 million cheaper than everybody else. And he's out in the hallway. Fuck.
Hey, you know what's funny? I watched that movie on Netflix, 4th of July.
Yeah.
I watched that on Independence Day. I was like, oh.
I just watched Independence Day last night, dude. How American can you get, bro? What's funny is they actually interviewed him, not the Jonah Hill's character, but the other guy, the guy, some massage therapist dude. And the movie is nothing like what really happened in real life. Like, a lot of people think that's the true story, and I'm like, dude, no, they totally took Writers Guild on that thing. That's not at all what happened.
Well, that's how they do with all of it.
Oh, it's like,
I mean, it made a good movie. It was freaking awesome.
a freaking awesome movie. But like, you know, it does show you kind of how people are, though. Like, that movie completely shows you how business really, how shitty it is.
On the grand scheme of things, it ain't too far off.
No, it really isn't. I literally can probably think of like every character in that movie of a person I know. Like, it's like, I've met that guy somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that guy, but I've met that guy. Like,
Jonah Hill character is nearly every high school and college kid I've ever.
oh my God. Jonah Hill's character is like half the project managers I fucking know, dude. Like, oh my God, man.
Or a solar salesman.
Yeah. Solar salesman. You know, I always joke, you know, I can deal with an equipment sales rental guy, but like car people, oh my God, dude, they're terrible. Like, if you even just show up in the parking lot and they somehow get your phone number, it never ends.
Yeah.
But I bought something else, dude. Well, you know, we're making a deal on this truck, man. We got to get it off the lot, man. My boss he's getting very serious about. I'm like, dude, I'm good, man.
You know what the problem is? Have you ever heard of that Grant Cardone guy where he's got that 10X program and he's teaching people sales?
Yeah.
I call him out all the time. I was like, how much of this shit did you pay for to try to sell me on this? They're like, It's like, dude.
And they all, speaking of like project managers, they all have the same tone too. When you call them about a change order, it's always So there's some changes to the grading plan. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you just take a look at it and just get back to me on it. Yeah, will do. Yeah, I need it back today. No, you'll get it back tomorrow. Well, the owner's really wanting to get this done. I'm like, oh, I'm sure he is. But I got to check the plans and see what you snuck in there. Well, we didn't sneak nothing. I looked at it. It's not much of a change. You do a takeoff and it's like an additional 4,000 yards or some shit.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, all right, guy.
Well, on a 100,000-yard job, it's not much.
Oh, yeah, on the grand scheme of things, this ain't that much. But I can't tell you how many times I'd be doing like you know what I'm about to say, be doing like a regular, 10, 15,000 square foot pad on like an 1.5 2 acre lot. And like all of a sudden they want a detention pond. And they're like, oh, it's really not that much of a change. And you look and it's like, dude, I got to move like 8,000 fucking yards now. Like this was supposed to be a flat site, fucking in and out,
Yep.
2 days. Now I'm adding a week, I got to cut this thing out. I got to grade it, fucking all this shit. You change the paving grades. Like, oh, I don't understand why this costs so much more. I don't know.
Hey, anytime I got to set up in my bids now, because so many customers I've found lately in the last 3 years, they just constantly change in the middle of the project. And you ain't got time to bid. So I got to set up in my deal is anything that is obstructed from the original plans is now T&M.
Yeah, me too. I'm doing that too.
With it.
So some of the good ones now, I think I told you this when you and I talked last time, not today, but I think I told you this. There's 2 or 3 that I work for now. They just ask for T&M rates in the contract. They'll just be like, hey, man, just send me your rate sheet. And literally it's in the contract. So if I'm like, hey, I need, what do you need out there? Oh, I need the skid steer for 5 days.
Yeah.
10-hour day. He's like, cool. And he'll send me a change order for exactly that. And it's like, sign, good to go. So it is kind of working out that way because I think they're realizing like the amount of time you're going to take to have to do a takeoff, get it through your system, write it all up. It's like, dude, I can just do this T&M. Yeah, it might cost a little bit more, but it's going to get done.
Or it might end up being cheaper.
Yeah.
If you're going to piss me off, I'm going to put a PEMA factor in there, paying my ass fee.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've done that once or twice.
Oh, you never.
Never? Hell, I used to have in my contract till I had a lawyer tell me, he goes, you realize that's the dumbest shit I ever read on a contract. I was like, I thought it was funny. He goes, no, be professional. I was like, oh.
What's it say?
It used to say PIMA, P-I-M-A, pain in my ass.
Oh, yeah.
Fee.
Yeah, you always charge that. So the going rate is 50%, just so everyone knows that's new to this game.
Well, it did say cost plus 35% on there, and my dad thought that was awesome and hilarious. I never had any customer. I had it on there for 9 years.
Never took it off.
Before someone saw it, and then whenever our lawyer saw it, 'cause we were having issues with the customer, and he's like, I know it's in fine print with all your exclusions. He goes, but come on.
So you want to hear what I started putting in mind to just stop them from getting the concrete guy to start doing his bullshit. So I was like, that's cool. I've always had it where they have to come out when we're blue topping to verify. Mm-hmm. Well, now I have it where if they fuck it up, which this has happened now, and they something happens between when we leave and the concrete guy takes it over, like just asshole on a sky track or something or whatever, and the concrete guy won't accept it, even though they've already accepted the grades. I've had this happen a few times, and they're like, hey, can you come back and fix it? I'm like, yeah, sure. Here, I'll just charge them a mob, and I don't even think about it. And I'll get out there, and I realize, oh, shit, like, I got to fix a lot of shit. Like, this is going to fuck me. And so, I'm like, I got this. So me and Pete sat down one day, and I said, what would be a good number that we put in our contract that would just be so, not egregious, but to the point of them going, you just get the concrete guy to fucking fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and
I guess skid steers.
I go,
let them do
I
it.
go, $1 a square foot, minimum $2,500 charge on top of the remove. So if you go out there and you fix one rut, you charge them $5,000 just to go fix a rut.
I mean,
they might tell the guy at the SkyTrack to go get the bar and scrape the shit back because I mean, you got to at some point you got to do that because like I'm in this weird situation of I'm doing all this T&M work right now, and it's like I got to get to other jobs. And I don't get me wrong, I love the T&M work. It's great. I'm not bitching or moaning about it, but it's like, dude, I got like 3 other people I got to get to, and you're just like, hey, can you fix this? Can you fix that? You know, the guy on the SkyTrack fucked that up. Can you fix that? And it's like, get the concrete guy to do it. And they're like, well, he doesn't have a skid steer out here. I'm like, dude, they have skid steers. I know the owner. He has a bunch of them. He'll bring one out if you ask him. Just haven't asked him, have you? Oh, no. He'll do it. He's going to charge exactly what I charge. We charge about the same. He's the one that actually taught me that trick about the dollar a square foot shit.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, it helps, man. Like, it's just little shit like that that's going to get you. Yeah, you're going to. I'm not saying don't do T&M work. Absolutely do T&M work. If you're, especially, you know what I'm about to say. If you're fucking slow and you can catch T&M work, fuck yeah. Keep your guys busy and fucking, you're paying your payroll, you're paying your costs, you're keeping the lights on in the office. Give your estimator some more time, get you some work, you know, all that. But if you're in a situation of you got plenty of work and you're on T&M, it's a double-edged sword. It's like, well, I'm pissing everybody else off because I can't get to them because I'm fucking T&M in this guy. And it's like, but I could go bill damn good money doing this job.
Yeah.
So it is a double-edged sword. I mean, what do you think? Am I crazy?
No, not crazy. I mean, 90% of my jobs end up being T&M anyway. Yeah. I give them a bid, and then by the time I get started, they're like, wow, why you're here? But mine's usually ranch work, you know? So it's like, man, that's going so good on the pond. Go ahead and do this other pond. And then I'm like, do you just want to do me hourly so I don't have to keep walking and bidding this shit? And they go, yeah, go for it. And you're like, okay.
Oh, shit.
So, and then I piss off customers all the time. So I go, I'm not leaving until I'm done there, and I go over here. I don't like being spread out when I'm small.
I hate that shit.
When you're big, you don't mind spreading out and being a little thin because you're still going to have 3 to 4 guys on each side. But when you only got 4 guys, you can't do 2 and 2. It don't work out very well.
You can't move much dirt.
No.
You know, it's one of those things, too, like you and I were talking about. I've learned a long time ago when I was small, and now I'm doing it again. I had 2 guys that were my finish guys. I had a badass dude on a blade and a badass dude on a skid. One would just jump on the roller. But I had 4 guys doing my mash shit.
Yeah.
So that way, that job was getting blown out. By the time my finish crew got done, they can move in. I could put the 4 dudes on the next job, and I'm just blowing them out.
Yep.
And I'd take the finish guys. If there wasn't anything ready for them to finish, the jobs that were ready for curb backfill or sidewalks, I'd send them to go fucking do that shit. And it just worked, man. It was working great. And then I grew.
Yeah.
And I didn't keep that crew purpose crew like I was. And it started to screw me because then I had guys going to do curb backfill that had been dozer hands their whole career. And now they're like, what do you mean I got backfill curbs? It's like, you never been on a job with concrete on it, have you? No.
No way, no.
What's this finishing shit? I don't do this. I put pads in, I leave.
Right.
You know, the first time I ever went, I think I might have told you this. I went 5 years, dude, in my career without ever going back to a job. Like, I was just always on 8s and 6s, so I was just constantly out doing mass eggs. So by the time they're pouring the parking lot and shit, I'm already gone, dude. I ain't seen that job in 6 months. So the first time I got sent out, when I got on the blade, and they sent me back, and I went, the fuck am I supposed to do? I'll clean all this up. I put this shit on grade already. Well, yeah, fix it. And my blood pressure went up. They're like, we're getting paid for it. Don't worry. You're getting paid to do this. I'm like, well, it's still fucking bullshit. I fucking busted my ass to get this shit. You know, because you don't know. You know, when you're in the big companies, they don't tell you this shit. Like, hey, there's a whole group of guys that you never met that come in behind you and do this shit. And it's like, I don't know how they do it. And then I always was a mass guy. So when I went to finish side, it was just, it's a night and day difference.
Mm-hmm. That's why finish hands get paid more.
I learned that too. Mm-hmm. Because your blood pressure goes through the roof. First day on a 6 on a finish crew. You ready to hear the story?
Yeah.
I took out 3 septic lines, 1 water line, all the risers, because no one told me. Right. So I had my blade down. This is how bad it was. I'm I'm pushing this pile, and I got this giant. They left this giant pile in the middle of the fire lane, so they're like, "Hey, shove it to the other end. So we can get the blade in here and clean it up." All right, whatever. Well, I can't see because I got this giant fucking pile. I had a bull blade, so I didn't have the 6-way. So the bull blade sits right up top of the window, so all I see is a wall of dirt. And my buddy's calling me, and I don't realize he's calling me. He's the one on the motor grader. And he is seeing me just wreck shit. Like I'm taking out fucking culverts. I'm taking out. And I'm like, he's like, hey, bro, all the money we were going to make finishing this job just went to fixing the fucking pipes that you just took out. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, they're going to back charge us for all that. I was like, what did I take out? And so I back up and I look and there's just this pile of shit in the dirt. And I was like, oh, that looks expensive. He's like, yeah. They got to trace where the lines went, and then they got to bore them again. He started explaining everything to me. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I fucked up. So I'm not afraid to admit I've done that. So, anybody's like, I'm a perfect dirt hand. I've never made a mistake in my life. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I made mistakes, but I never made that mistake.
Hey, I'm owning it, bro. I'm owning it.
But I mean, mine was equally dumb, just not as expensive. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Needless to say, I got sent to an excavator on a mass crew after that. I was loading off roads for the next 6 months.
Here's your punishment. Look out a window and turn right or left.
He's making another left turn.
My foreman, he goes, boss man, you've been making too many lefts. You got to start going right. Otherwise, those bolts underneath going to get loose.
So Steph just bought me one of those RC the RC excavator, the one that you see on TikTok all the time. And I didn't realize you actually can't like dig with it like you and I would.
Yeah.
It has one stick you push up and it just does the whole thing. I can't stand it because it's like it comes down and it immediately turns. I'm like, no, you start with the teeth in and then you curl the bucket. And she's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, you can tell an engineer fucking made that because that shit don't work.
Yeah. Just like they do everything else.
Yeah, it looks good on paper.
It always looks good on paper. Hell, there's this one engineer. I like him. He's old and grouchy. He cracks me up. He reminds me of my dad. But there'd be a couple things he missed on there. And I was like, hey, man, you got these detention ponds. How are they going to exit water? And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't see an exit strategy on these plans. I mean, I'm smart enough to know where it needs to be, but I'm like, come on now. Thought we were engineers. He's like, I'm fucking old. Leave me alone. I was like, well, still better than the young guys. Young guys would have put that shit backwards or something.
Yeah.
We're going to make it drain uphill.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many jobs I built where they try to make water drain uphill. And I'm out there building it going, they're going to pay me to fix all this. This ain't going to work. So the thing that I wanted to talk about tonight was proper estimating practices and job management. I wanted to hear what your thoughts are on all this.
Proper estimating, how I do it, people say it's inefficient, but how I do it is I do the new school with the old school. I still drive out there and look because I don't give a fuck about Google Maps. They lie to you.
Yeah, they do.
Because they don't show you where all those shady fly-by-night dump truck companies just randomly dump out there. You know what I mean? Like, 6 months ago it was a clear lot. Today it is not. There's like
full of trash.
1,000 yards of concrete to come out of there, you know?
Oh, yeah. We're ready to dig a pond out here. No, you're not.
So always, my practice is to keep you in the safe is always visit the job before you give a bid. Don't be afraid to go back to paper because, like on your plan sheet, I still print out. That's just a old diehard habit that came from the old man. Like, I can still look on the phone or whatever, and I still got the software to do takeoffs because it's a little quicker. But I have seen where there's certain little factors that if you screw up while you're typing, I mean, it's still same human error by hand, but to me, I feel like I could correct it faster by hand than I can by tech. Because by tech, you're like, this should be 100% accurate. I put in all the right stuff, and then you put that 0.1 at the wrong point, and then you're off by 1,000 yards. Versus by hand gridding it, it's rare that I'm off. So, and then estimating, you just got to know the cost to run your business. Just like what I came across was I found I was charging extremely cheap. And I found that out based on how my same prices that I thought were still good, where my profit margins dropped to a third to basically doing it nearly at cost, where a year before it was a nice, 25% profit average. And so you kind of got to understand your business aspect and I didn't practice this for over a year, where I always keep up to date on prices on everything so I can adjust my business accordingly. And then you're always ahead of the curve whenever the next, price increase on parts. Mechanics went from $100 an hour to $250 an hour for, on-site mechanic and how things are done. If you get lazy in that aspect, your pricing on jobs are going to reflect, and then your business is going to reflect, and then you're going to sit there going, how am I going to pay the light bill? Because all my money went to fuel, went to labor, went to this and that, and I didn't compensate myself for this. Pretty much working for free at that point.
When you start, a lot of people don't grasp this concept, brother. I think you and I both know this too well. Imagine if you're on a job site and you are literally walking up to the superintendent for the GC and just handing him a $100 bill an hour. Mm-hmm. And start adding that up. And a guy said that to me a couple months ago, and I started thinking about that. I'm like, damn, you literally are paying them to do the job. Mm-hmm. Who the fuck pays to do a job? All the bullshit you got to deal with. You got to deal with the contract negotiation. You got to figure out the plans are jacked up. You got to topo the job because the guy that topoed it probably did the topo 5 years ago, like we said, the shady contractors or shady contractors too, shoving dirt off the other job onto that lot. Oh, they're not going to notice this. So they'll have grass on it in 6 months. And all of a sudden, the job that was supposed to be balanced has a 8,000, 9,000 yard haul off, and you're supposed to just eat it. Well, my thoughts are on the estimating thing. Perform a proper topo before you mobilize, i.e. drone, and also hand. I do both. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
Ensure that the GC/owner provides the control points and benchmark for the job.
Yep.
And everyone runs off the same one. We don't have 14 different benchmarks on the job. The utility guy's going off here. Concrete guy's going off this. The structural guy's going off this. We're going off this. And everybody's going, this shit ain't on grade. Well, no wonder, because the fucking manhole lid that's over there has moved 2 inches in the last year from the swell, from the rain that we just had for the last 6 months. It didn't stop. Yeah, the shit's up 2 inches. Of course, it's not going to be correct.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's little things like that, man. It's just that shit can bite you in the ass. Like, just putting money aside for that. Like, dude, it doesn't cost a lot. Put, $5-6 grand for topo. Put it in your line item, in your mob. Put topo included. Mm-hmm. Add $5 grand in your mob. Nobody gives a shit about your mob number. Nobody does.
I don't even know what a mob is.
Mobilization.
Oh, okay. I was like,
yeah. And set yourself up for success too. When you're estimating, spell shit out. A lot of guys don't want to do that, and I understand that. They don't want people to really know their numbers and all that kind of shit, because you can always reverse engineer numbers and figure out what they're really charging you. In a weird way, though, it does help you, though, because if you get in an argument situation down the road where they're like, hey, I know you did all this haul off, but you didn't haul all your dirt off. Bull fucking shit. I put in my fucking contract, in my proposal, I'm going to haul this many fucking yards. Mm-hmm. Here's the fucking trucking tickets. Here's the topo. Here's everything to prove I've hauled what I said I was going to haul. You're paying for the rest.
Yep.
That shit'll save your ass. Or you're doing moisture conditioning and they try to say you didn't fucking do it.
Yep.
It's just little shit like that, man. That's going to set you up down the road for success. But like you said, keeping up with the cost of fuel, keeping up with the cost of payroll, keeping up with the cost of your hourly rate operating that machine. Because I can tell you 2 years ago, you could go run a bulldozer for between 150 and 175 bucks an hour and make damn good fucking money.
Not anymore.
Now you're covering your cost.
Yep.
If you're lucky.
Yep.
Because a dozer now, I went to lunch with a rental rep last week, and the rental companies all have this app now that they all use. They all communicate with each other. And they do it off an area. And they'll go, okay, right now this is the flat line number that most people are, this is the average that people are charging for a rental on this size machine. It's like D6T, 13,000 bucks. You know, high side, 18,000. Low side, 11.5. I remember when you could, for years, you could go, I can rent a D6T with GPS for 9,500 bucks a month.
Yeah.
Like clockwork.
Without it's like 7,250.
That was tax, terp, all the bullshit they include on it. You knew it's 9,500 out the door.
Yep.
You could bid that on a rental rate sheet all freaking day long. You could bid that into your job. You never were going to lose money. There was years you knew how much, if you were in what part of town you're in, how much the trucking was going to be. I could bid a job without ever doing a takeoff. Like I could be like, 6,000 yards. Okay. Well, it's going to be this much to load it, this much. And I could tell you, I would usually be within pennies of what I bid every time. I'd get the invoice and I'd compare, and within a couple pennies. I mean, it was not hard. But because of this fluctuation shit we've been having last, 5
drastic,
years?
like out of nowhere. Like it was weird because I had my rental sheet, and that's why like it was crazy to me. I had my rental sheet because I get text messages from like BNR and a couple other companies. They'll send me updates because I tell them, hey, I never know. I might need it. Like I'm one of those. I'm a one-track mind. If you text me, then I think about it. Otherwise, I ain't thinking about it. I'm in the zone. But I'd get texts, and then they'll tell me what they have available and what it's going for. Well, after December, something fucking happened.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, the repair costs, something happened. Like, I was, like, it took me off guard. Like, I was talking to a developer buddy of mine that we're doing RV parks for. I was like, hey, man, on your next one, like, this T&M's going to go up. Like, because right now you're getting such a smoking ass deal. It's not even funny. Because I said if one of those machines broke down, I would be making you pay the rental fee and just paying one of my operator, or paying me to have one of my operators for X amount per hour. Because there's no freaking way.
Yeah, it's insane.
And like same machines that I would rent, it doubled.
Yeah,
over doubled on most of them.
It happened to me probably about 6-7 months ago. And kind of the same thing. There was, I don't know, 2 years, it kind of chilled out there for a while. We kind of went through this right after COVID. It did the same shit, up and down shit. And then it chilled out. And the end of Trump, beginning of Biden, it was chill for about, I don't know, 6-7 months. Then
I call it the delusional year. Because you're like, oh, maybe not that bad.
Well, it's because a lot of people don't realize this. In being in the military, I learned this. So when a president comes in, right?
Yeah.
Everybody thinks everything's going to change over fucking night. It's the government. It's bureaucracy. Like, literally, like when I was in the Army under Bush, it was fucking awesome. Like, we went to the range all the fucking time. We were in the field. We were fucking training. We had money. We could go. We had Gucci gear. Like, it was fucking badass. And then I went to Afghanistan right after Obama became president. So the first year and a half I was in under him, it was the same old thing. Then his policies started to come into effect because he had done budget cuts. All of a sudden, we weren't going to the range every week. We were going once a month. All of a sudden, we weren't pulling trucks out of the motor pool to go do training in them. It was, hey, we're going to just sit in the motor pool and practice. And it was, hey, you can't use as much paper when you print. If it screws up, just use it. Like, it just became, you could tell, hey, so it's the same kind of concept with everything that we're going through in our aspect. They'll do a tax cut. That tax cut still was in effect when Biden came into office. So we felt that for a long time. Well, what happened was all of a sudden inflation starts jumping up because someone sells a house in California for $6 million, it's worth 50 fucking grand, but they come here and they buy up half of fucking town, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, we can charge 50 times what this house is worth. And you know, we're like, oh, hell yeah, we're gonna make money. And we were making money for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I knew it was coming. I kept saying it, and everybody's like, this ain't, nah, this is going to last for a while. I said, no, this is going to be a very short boom. And nobody believed me. We got a year and a half out of it, and then it.
Yeah, and I think there's still, I wouldn't say boom, but I think it's more or less a level. And then I kind of feel like in Texas, we're going to feel it come back up.
Yep.
And then it's going to be a next shelf.
Yep.
And I knew during COVID, it was kind of like, man, don't fall through it. And then it just kept doing this. So it it tricks your mind.
Yep.
You're like,
this is going to be good.
This is going to go for the next 20 years.
Oh, we're going to be millionaires.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, there's a shelf and a big dip. It's like a stock market. I guess in general, business in general, entrepreneurship is a stock market. You're going to have highs and lows. You just got to be prepared for the lows. Luckily for me, not too many people can say what I got, but I only got one equipment payment. You know, just one skid steer, one $1,300 a month payment. Everything else is bought and paid for.
Yeah.
I don't owe a dime on anything.
But at the end of the day, that machine's still got to make you money.
Exactly.
You still got to make the maintenance on it. You still got to put fuel in it. You still got to pay the guy running it. You got to pay the insurance on it.
Yep. But when it rains its ass off and you can't work for 3 weeks, I ain't got to worry about a payment. I just sit there and just go, okay, I'll just wait for it to dry out.
Exactly.
So it's give and takes, but the problem is, too, it's older equipment, like the motor grader, or not motor grader. That one's still doing pretty well. The excavator we got, it's like, I'm going to do some line boring. I hit 9,000 hours. We had one nasty, sandy job out in Boyd that just ate, no matter how many times, we greased it twice a day. Nice badass grease you can buy, and it still just ate through that shit. Like, it didn't care about its feelings. It didn't care about my pocketbook. It just destroyed bucket pins. And now I'm looking at it, and it's starting to look like shit on TikTok now. Like, it's about 1,000 hours away being what you see in like Africa when they're, just.
You got the guy in the cab with no cab, and he's sitting in the seat, and the sticks are gone, and he's got like fucking pulleys and shit.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little gnarly, but it's one of those like, hey, I can get enough to fix it all. Line boring's still cheaper than buying a new one. You know what I mean? What, like $285,000 to buy one of those new now, or almost $300K or over three? I know every time I look at new, I'm like, how the fuck? But the used market's gone to shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, my equipment value, like, cost went up double across the board. My equipment value went down to a third.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Like, just 2 years ago, I could have made a profit on all that shit, selling it out. Mm-hmm. I would have been sitting pretty.
It's because how many guys thought like you did, though, 2 years ago? It was like, man, I'm going to make some money. I'm going to get rid of this shit.
Yeah.
And they did. They're smart. They made some money, but now guess what? The brand new crap's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you know what's? I think it's coming. I have hope. I'm going to say this. I drove by the cat dealer the other day, the big one in Irving, and for like 3 years, dude, you didn't see shit in that yard. Because you remember everything was behind. You couldn't get a machine for 2 years and all this crazy shit that was going on. I drove by there. They had them lined up.
Yeah.
And I went, it's going to come. It's coming. They're going to have to get realistic with these prices because everybody catching on to it, man. They're like, I'm not paying this, dude. Like, you can't even put the cost in the job. You won't win the job. You want $600,000 for a dozer that 4 years ago you could have paid $320 for. There's no fucking way, dude. People are going to keep paying that.
I don't know. I think I think the opposite. I think people are going to keep paying it, and here's why. They're going to slowly do like what me and you're doing, just increase on costs. Then everyone that's developing property is going to be less work out there. And guess what? They're just going to sit on those, let them go into auction. Cat deer and all them going to eat it like they did in '08. Same situation happened. They had a bunch of machines sitting there brand new. And after sitting on a lot for over a year, they just let them go to auction and get about 50 cents on the dollar for them. And then when things started turning back around, then you notice those prices started to increase. They never drop from the price whenever they go from new. They just deal with the repercussions, and then whenever things start turning around, everyone starts catching up. Then you're gonna pay $600,000 for this dozer, baby.
It's true though. It's crazy, brother. I mean, but it's doubled in 4 years. Whereas how many years did it take a dozer to go from 80, 90 grand brand new
10 years
to 300? You know, it took a decade at least. Now it's like we've doubled it in 2.
I mean, I remember buying a 650J dozer. Well, not me. My dad buying a 650J dozer when I was in high school. Brand new. It was like 80 grand. Brand new, rippers, forestry package, everything. And then that same dozer, you go, let's just say that was 2010. You go fast forward 6-7 years. It's $105,000. Like, that's realistic, you know. As it's progressing, same thing. That same dozer right now is nearly $200K. I was like, that don't even make freaking sense, dude.
You can't even charge for it either.
Oh, you can if you find the right customers. This is
the point. How many guys know how to do that though? Not many.
No.
Most guys are on. I'm guilty of it. They're on Building Connected. They're on this app. They're on this app.
I'm on none of those.
Shitting bids out. Shitting bids out. Shitting bids out. And you know what everybody's doing? Low number. Every time we win a job now, it's not excitement anymore. It's, oh, fuck, what did we miss?
What?
Or did we not update our diesel price in our hourly rate? Did we forget to add this in here? Is there something little thing missing that we're just not seeing? And I make it up because I'm running the field now. I'll figure it out eventually. And it's usually when I get Pete does the handoff meeting with me and I go, oh, I know how to do this. And that's when I pick up the phone and I make some deals and shit happens. But that's also experience of doing that a few times in my life, and you as well probably.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of those things that you can make money in this game no matter what. You just got to know how to articulate it in a way that you know how I'm about to say this, but you articulate it in a way that makes them think that they can't live without it. Almost. Like
because they try to find a way not to pay for it too.
You're like, oh, well, you know, I'd love to help you, but this is going to be a huge expense for me. And I'm not making much. I love saying this line. It does work sometimes. I'm really not making a whole lot of money on this job. You know, I kind of did a favor here, and I'm asking you to do a favor with me. It works sometimes.
I don't stoop to that level.
Oh, that's stooping now. That's stooping. All right, fine. I see how it is. Damn, Doc. Shotgun blast. Bro.
I will never apologize for my bluntness.
I love it though, brother. That's why I love you.
I can't do that. I just tell them when they go, man, I feel like this is expensive. I was like, yeah, that's what happens when you pay for a Rolls Royce. You're not going to get one on a fucking discount, bitch. I've never seen them have a year-end sellout on a fucking Rolls Royce. You damn sure see them on Fords and Chevys, though.
You don't see them advertised either.
No, hell no. Hell, that's why you don't see me advertise hardly at all anymore.
Yeah, I'm at that point, too. Like, people are like, man, you don't post anything but on Instagram. I'm like, just because I got a shitload of followers and it's kind of cool to get some likes, I'm like, I could care less, dude. Like, I still wrap the machines, but that's just a pride thing. But, like, besides that, I don't even put, you know how you and me, we always used to put signs out on our jobs. I don't put my signs up anymore.
I only put them out when the customer requests it because they're like, man, well, I have customers now. I'll show you text. They're proud of my work, so they want me to put a sign out there. Yeah. And I don't put it out there unless they ask me. The
biggest compliment in the world for me is always when a client tags me in a post. Like if they're like, you know, they're out there killing it right now. I'm like, that's legit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love that.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, there's plenty of guys around town. We see it all the time that they're just like, look at me, how cool I am. And it's like, yeah.
Well, they're desperate. Like, and that's what it tells me. It's an act of desperation to get work. And I used to do that, and it wasn't necessarily out of desperation. I thought it was
what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I thought it was strategy for marketing, which in a case it was. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, when I look at how many times people Google dirt guy, because that's what they're looking for is a dirt guy, not my company specifically, just that's who they think of. Well, my name, I don't even have to pay fucking Google. Like, I get 2,000 clicks, and the problem is I'm not in the right states for 19 or, 1900 of them. A lot of them are like, Nebraska and shit, and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, it's funny for me because of the movie. You know, people are like, oh, yeah. Is that where you got the name from? I'm like, no. They're like, that's a great movie, dude. and
clickbait, baby.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, it works, But I mean, I've had people literally just call us to tell us that. They're like, dude, that's so fucking cool. Your company's named after a movie. I'm like, I didn't name it after the movie. They're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, we had that name way before that movie came out. They're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, But it's just I don't know. It's weird now. Like, I'm in this weird spot. Like, I just want to do my job.
Yeah.
I'm not as personal anymore with everybody as I used to be. Now I show up and it's like I have a meeting with them and I go, what do you need me to do? Okay, cool. Let's do it. And then I'm going to send you a bill.
Yep.
And I'm not going to ask you how your golf game is because I don't fucking golf. I'm not going to ask you how your kids are doing.
No.
I'm not, because I tried to be that way for a long time.
And it backstabs you.
Fucks me every time, man.
Yep.
And the saying goes, and I used to hate it and I'm starting to love it. It ain't nothing personal, it's just business. Mm-hmm. And I'm learning now that it's just, you got to be that way. Unfortunately, it's how you got to be with people. Like, is there certain clients I have that I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, how you been, bro? Like that guy, yeah, because I've had that rapport with them for years. But it's somebody that I might have done a job or two for.
Yeah.
I want you to know up front, I don't trust you.
Yep.
Because I don't. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that you can't get over on me.
Mm-hmm.
And you might think you're going to, and I'll let you think you're going to. And then I'm going to come out of right field on you. And you're going to go, oh, shit. All right, this guy don't fucking play. No, I'm not going to. Because at the end of the day, we signed a contract. You said you're going to pay me this much. I'm going to do my damn job. I did it right. Now fucking pay me.
See, this is why I don't do commercial work hardly.
No, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. But this is commercial stress, baby. This is why you need to come to the dark side.
I'd love to, brother, but
there's ranch and there's plenty of it. I tell you that.
I know there is. The problem is the area that I'd want to work, because I would never do this. I would never go up where you're at, because I have that respect for you and I know that's your territory. I'm not going to do that. The problem that I have is where I'd want to work. There's a guy that's kind of like you. He kind of already has a name for himself, and I respect him too. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of like one of those. I'm one of them guys. I just don't step in. I've always been that guy. I don't go play in somebody else's sandbox. It's just who I am.
Well, I get that too, but to me, it's like, how are you stealing my customers if they weren't my customers in the first place? Because I can tell you one thing's for sure: ain't no one stealing my loyal customers.
No,
ain't no one going to treat my loyal customers better than I treat them. And I can tell you what, I just finished a pond for one, and let me tell you, he brags and talks about us all the time. He'll wait a year for me to get out there to do a pond repair or
that's the guy you want.
Yeah, exactly. But to me, it's like, if you're out in the area, I know there's 50 different dirt contractors, and they try to play that. You took my customer. I didn't know this was your fucking customer. He called me. What are you doing wrong? Because my customers ain't calling other people.
No.
You know what I mean? The ones that are my good has me in there. I swear every year or every other year I'm doing something on 100 acres, 200 acres. Not a single one of them is calling someone else. So to me, I don't see it as playing in my sandbox, because I have my customer base.
Right. No.
If you like, and that's my thing. Like, I go from Whitesboro all the way down to Houston, all the way up to Oklahoma City. I don't give a shit. Customer's a customer.
Yeah.
If it's your sandbox, well, fucking clean up your sandbox so I don't have to go and play in it either. You know what I mean? Like, I get what you're saying, but I think you're going about it thinking, I don't want to step on his toes because probably there's people in Whitesboro I went to school with. I don't know who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
But they know me. I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And they don't call me,
Yeah, I get what you're saying, brother. I guess it's just one of them things. Like I've always been that way. I kind of live that way, and that's just the person I've always been. That I try to stay in my lane, and because I can't stand it when someone gets in mine. And I'm the motherfucker who drops the blade and shoves your ass into a windrow, bro. Like, I'll run your fucking ass over. Oh, you want to play? Let's play. Let's go play big boy ball. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that with, Galifianakis and Will Ferrell, where they're both the politicians. And one's
dude, I was talking about this movie the other day. Campaign.
And he looks right at him when he calls him out, and he goes, "Welcome to the fucking show."
Yeah.
And that's how I am, dude. It's like, cool. You trying to take food off my fucking plate? I got you, motherfucker. I will run your ass in the fucking ground.
Yep.
Let's play. Now it's different if it's a situation of you're knowingly trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's on. Now, you're just the guy that had a better bid. I ain't mad at you. That's fucking business, dude. And at the end of the day, I know these GCs ain't loyal to anybody. They're loyal to the lowest number. Whoever's going to do the job, like you said earlier today on the phone, whoever's going to do the job right and do it professionally and make that money, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what you deal with is a lot more of a personal matter, and that's something that I kind of...
Sometimes.
Something I want to talk about. Well, we didn't really put it on the notes to talk about, but...
How dare you?
I'm sorry. Commercial versus residential.
Yeah.
I know we've had episodes about it already, but it is true. Mm-hmm. You have to kind of, with residential almost, you kind of got to put your kid gloves on a little more than you would with a GC. A GC, to a point, depending on the client. I've done not as much nearly as you, but it's a similar concept of when you're dealing with a residential person. Imagine it's like when you go to a doctor and he starts talking in his doc talk, and you're just like, I don't even know what the fuck this guy just said, but it's something about
I get that with GCs too, though.
It's something about my head, I guess. But it's the same thing with them. Like they're, you and I talking about cut to fill, blue topping, moisture conditioning, select fill, whatever. To them, it's like Swahili. All they care about is,
I'm gonna have to Google this.
Yeah, is this guy going to do the job right? Is my pond not going to leak? Is my pasture going to be straight? Is it going to drain properly? Is my arena not going to hold water?
Yeah,
that's what they're looking at. But at the end of the day, you got to sell them on it and go, hey, I know I cost more, but this is the reason I cost more. I'm going to use better material. I'm going to get this job done faster. Oh, you want this thing done custom? You want initials cut out in your pond, or like the guy stuck. I sent you that one a couple months ago. The guy dug that Texas shaped tank.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for a customer to have the funds for me to do that. I've been wanting, because people use that as a bragging tool. I'm like, fuck you, I want to build one now.
Yeah,
I might just build one on my own property.
Do it, bro.
I might do it.
Get the drone out, get you a picture, you post that thing up, bro. But it's one of those things. Like, it's the same thing though. Like in that arena, you gotta have I don't know how to say it. It is a similar mentality, but it's different.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of guys, I notice this, and you and I have talked about this, crossover. Guys that try to do both, they tend to have problems on one side or the other. Like guys that do strictly residential and they try to get in commercial, they realize real quick, oh, this ain't a screw up on a pond and it might cost me a day to fix it. Oh, no. This guy's going to fucking sue me. Oh, I'm going to fucking court. Oh, I got fucking, I got fucking contracts. I got all this shit to deal with. Don't get me wrong. You still got to run a contract and all that with a residential crew. I'm not saying that by any means, but a homeowner calls you about something's wrong out there. You go out there and fix it. Fix it. Move on. And it seems like every time I've done residential, I grab the owner right when I finish. I walk the site with them. Is there anything you'd like me to fix? No, it looks perfect. Can you sign this for me saying you accept it? Yeah, cool. And that way, if they pull that crap, they take you to small claims court or whatever. Here you go, Your Honor. Here's all the documents. Here's a picture. and it'll get thrown out. Commercial, you're dragging lawyers into it. You're going to court. It's I don't know how to explain it. You probably know what I'm getting at. It's
more
just,
stress.
it's a lot more bullshit.
Yep.
A lot more red tape. A lot more. The money is a little better to a point.
Well, I can argue with you on that one because I get paid for same on residential as I do commercial. Like everyone keeps, I don't understand who's charging more for commercial versus residential because it's the same amount of dirt, same fuel to burn,
Exactly.
same everything. I'm charging the same whether it's commercial or residential. I treat my residential like it's commercial. I make sure check off all tabs. I make sure it's professionally done. I make sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, so they understand from point A to B, and they may not understand everything I've done, but they understand it's done right.
Yes, sir.
They can see it's done right, and they know what they paid for. It's the same with GCs, and I tell you what, it's usually, to me, in my experience, we have different experiences. Yours is different types of GCs. I only deal with a certain amount of GCs because I only like the ones that I can trust. If I don't trust you, I treat you like you're a brand new residential customer.
Yep.
You're going to pay me my terms, and this is my price, and I don't give a shit. But the same conversation's usually same with residential. It's, hey, on the commercial, hey, everything checked out for you? Yep, good. Same thing on the residential side. Or, hey, this, we have to do a change order, just like the pond we were doing, which wasn't really much of a change order, it's just dig it out and get it done. But we found, for example, a big-ass pile of trees, but 10 feet below the bottom of the pond dam, where you're supposed to tie in a core trench, there's just trees. So dig that out, but it would be the same conversation you have with GC, like, hey, this is what I found. I could keep going, and it probably not going to cost you a crazy amount more, but it might. It just depends on what I find. Well, guess what? The only difference between a GC, a normal day-to-day GC and the homeowner is 9 times out of 10, the GC needs to go and make sure it's A-okay, where the homeowner's like, yeah, fuck it, keep going.
Yeah, well, because you're in an advantage of you're dealing directly with the owner.
Exactly.
Versus commercial, you're dealing with three freaking middlemen. You got the owner rep, you got this guy, you got that guy, you got the GC.
You want to be jealous real quick?
Sure.
I'll make you jealous. Every commercial job I do, 90% of the time I'm dealing directly with the owner. I don't even deal with the GC.
I have a couple like that too, man.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, you and I have talked about it. It's 100 times better.
Yeah.
The job gets done faster. You get paid on time.
And I ain't got to talk to the little bitch boy either, I said what I said. I don't give a shit.
It's true though.
I ain't gotta deal with crybaby Nancy there.
Yeah,
that's like, or the superintendent. Those are always fun.
Oh God.
They think they know everything.
I built this Target. No, you sat in your air conditioned trailer and watched everybody else build it. Let's clarify.
My favorite is, this is what we did in Seattle. I don't give a fuck about Seattle.
Yeah,
what has Seattle got to do with here?
I don't see a Starbucks headquarters around here, and I don't see a bunch of pine trees and rain. So yeah, this is fucking Texas.
I don't give a shit about where that's just like, no offense to like my dad. Like, I love him to death, and I love the experience and everything. But like, he'll bring up stories that don't even pertain to what we're doing. It's like, well, back in Phoenix, Arizona, this is how we would have done a job like this. I'm like, motherfucker, this ain't Phoenix.
This is Whitesboro, fucking Texas.
Down. I mean, we give each other shit all the time on the job site, but I think that's what keeps us from killing each other because it's just funny. But he'd be like, back in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, I had a crew of guys that would never, talk about like they're Superman. I was like, your crew guys in Arizona suck. They didn't come to Texas with you.
Yeah. Well,
he'd be like, come on now.
Why you gotta go low, man?
Yeah. They're probably badass, but I'm like, fuck them guys. I don't give a shit about them guys. They ain't here right now with the shovel. Just like, what does that got to do with anything? But I don't know. In my experience, it's the same both directions. That's why I don't, everyone goes, man, I changed my price because that's a commercial job. I'm going to make a killing on it. I'm like, fucking why? Like, I understand why, like, if they are truly making me wait 60, 90 days, you bet your sweet ass there's going to be a sweetener on top of that. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But every commercial job I do, I literally 10 business days is the longest I wait.
Yeah.
And I'll get a deposit, and then every 10-day cycle. And I've never had an issue so far. Heck, the RV park I was doing, we agreed to, a certain rate because they wanted to pay for the fuel on site, which me and you both know that's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. All you got to do is text the fuel guy, come fuel it up, and they're charging their card.
Send the bill.
Yeah, hell yeah. But, and, that, and then they paid me weekly. So, yeah, they get nicer rates. They're paying for this, paying for fuel, lube, oil, all of it. I'll give them nicer rates. Like, hey, here's hourly, pay me weekly, and it's strictly as many hours as I work there. That's all you're getting charged. And it worked out great.
Yeah.
They liked it. They were okay with it. Came in under budget. They were ecstatic.
Yeah. I will say it helps a lot when you can make deals like that. It doesn't happen much, but when you can do it, man, and everybody leave. Something I'm going to say in closing is you're going to agree with me on this. When you're doing a deal with anyone and you sit down at the table, everyone should walk away from it feeling good. It shouldn't be one person getting everything. Yeah. It should be, hey, this is awesome. We're all on the same page here. I'm getting what I want. You're getting what you want. Yeah, we might not get exactly what we want, but we're in that direction at least. So to me, it's like, well, I can walk away from the table and tell my guys, hey, I did what I got to do. Mm-hmm. They're still going to gripe and bitch about it, but it's like, hey, I got us some extra money. I got us, we've had a disagreement on this job or withholding payment. We're going to get paid now. I mean, it's just, it's the little victories like that you got to chalk it up and go, hey, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Could be dragging this out for 2 years in court, dealing with bonding companies and all sorts of crap. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just, why have the headache when you could just sit down and make a deal and get it done with?
Yep. Well, and that's what they want too, for the most part. But they do it as a bargaining tool because they know a lot of those GCs, they know they can drag it on longer and longer and longer. And they're just hoping you can't. Yeah. And that's all it really amounts to. It's just a waiting game. Yeah. And it sucks, but it's I guess it's a necessary evil if you're like, man, yeah, I'm taking a 20% hit, but at least I still got money in the bank, which that part I never cared for. Like, there's a project that still owes me $9,000, and it was off of a change order, and they were supposed to pay me after I was done with it within that week, and they still never did. And I'll tell you what, I'll never work for that GC ever again. And they send me bids, and I tell them to go F off. But all the ones I work for never have an issue. And that's when you develop that once. So it's like, yes, you don't have that personal relationship, all the new customers, but the ones that you've been dealing with for years and years and years, and they've never held you out to dry, those are the ones you just go the little extra mile for all the time. Yep. And then the rest of them, it's like, hey, starting over. This is my terms. Don't like it. I don't care. There's not a lot of contractors that are doing this in a professional manner, and that's why you're calling me, because all these, like you said, it's an influx of different construction companies coming in. Well, I've noticed more people are calling me after calling those added new companies because they destroyed this, they screwed up that, and this and that, and then all of a sudden I'm busy as hell again. So it's hey, it just makes me look better and better every time they come in.
Baby. I'm going to say this real quick, and then we'll close it up. But the thing that you just said that made me think about something too was you should never put yourself in a situation where a client can get over on you either. And prime example, about a month and a half, 2 months ago. Little job, man. I mean, it's nothing. It was going to be skid steer and mini X work. It was a new client. And they've been around since like 1870 something. Oh. These guys been around a while. And, that was the first thing they wanted to tell me when they sent me the contract.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where it gets more red flaggish. So the contract comes. He says, look it over. You got anything, just let me know. Anybody that's new to this game, that's code word for send your fucking corrections. I'm going to get pissed, and I'll call you, and we'll argue about them over the phone, and then I'll probably give them to you.
Yeah.
So he sends it. I send back my corrections, which honestly, they weren't that egregious. They were pretty normal shit. You know how I am about my scope, just like you, and payment terms and retainage and all that bullshit, liability. I made sure, and fuck you, I'm not liable for your bullshit or your guys. And send it back. It's a bonded job. It's a school, just a little bullshit job. And he says, hey, I don't agree to this correction or this correction or this correction. He gives me one out of like 25 I made. So I make him again, send him right back. And he says, did you not get my last email? I said, no, this is not a request. You're going to make these corrections. And he says, well, I'm the customer. I said, I don't give a fuck.
No.
I said, I don't care.
No.
And he said, he said it in his email. He said, well, we've been in business since 1879 or whatever the fuck. He said, that's great. I said, good luck to you. I said, I've been in business for 5 years because I make these fucking corrections. So have a nice night. And that's where it ended. And Pete looks right at me and he goes, he didn't make one correction? I said, no. He said, it's $25,000 job. I'm like, but think about it. If I had proceeded with his bullshit, what happens when they don't pay us? I have no leverage. I have no leg to stand on to fight these guys.
Well, I was told by a legal guy, he said he's heard it two ways in the courthouse. He's heard it where you as the contractor should have known better than to take that job, and then you get screwed over. Or sometimes it works in your favor, like you should have known better and gave that contractor the information he requested before you allowed him to do that job.
Yep.
So that's you got a flip of a coin.
Yeah, it's all on the judge.
Is that 50-50 worth it to you, or would you like your odds better in your favor? Because, you're 100% correct if you don't do it.
Yeah.
But you're 50-50 correct if you do it his way.
Yeah.
Or you're 90% correct if you do it your way. You know what I mean?
I try to explain to people, it's literally like walking through a fucking minefield with a contract if you don't get your corrections.
Yeah.
If you don't get your legal corrections and your scope correct, dude, you are in a legal minefield. If they fucking want to play a game with you and you sign that motherfucker, there's certain state laws that we both know this. They'll still write the shit in the contract, even though state law says, no, that's not going to happen. But they'll still put it in there. And then they'll be like, well, I can enforce this. And it's like, good luck. No courthouse in this state's going to enforce it. So
yeah. Well, and also, like, I know we're probably running out of time, but like in like the contract, how you said to be very detailed. There's two sides to being very vague and being very detailed. Being very vague could get you in a lot of trouble and out of a lot of trouble, as much as a lot of details. But the vague is a pain in the ass. Put a lien on someone's property if they didn't pay you. The details.
You got them.
And pictures.
You got them.
Yeah, too easy. Like, you got a 85% success rate to be able to put a lien on versus a vague one.
Yeah, good luck.
You're like 35%.
Yeah. It is wild, man, when the biggest killer in a contract scope of work, and nobody gets that. They're like, well, in your contract, the minute you get a GC that starts referring to the contract, run away.
Yep.
That just run, don't walk, run away from them. That's not somebody you want to work for.
Yeah.
Because I've had guys I've reviewed their contract, make my corrections. They make them. We do the job. Nothing happens. And they know without me having to say anything that, hey, that's not in his scope. It's an unwritten thing. And it's always, hey, can you give me a number for that? Yeah, no problem. Cool. And you move on.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. But then you have the guy that the first day you're on the job, you put the silt fence up and it gets knocked over. And he's like, oh, according to your contract, you're supposed to fix that. And it's like, no, actually, I'm not.
Yeah.
And then you're in the job trailer with the guy for 10 minutes arguing about it. And he's like, well, I interpret it this way. It's like, it says right here, install only, no maintenance. Yep. Guess what? That's a maintenance issue.
Yep.
Oh, no, it's not. It was installed yesterday. I don't give a shit, asshole. It's maintenance.
Yeah.
So
no maintenance means no warranty either.
Yeah,
it's a fucking silt fence, dude.
Yeah. So that's just an example. But I mean, that's the extent it can go if you're not careful and write it out like I did.
Yeah.
Dude, the biggest killer too, and you'll agree with me on this, especially in commercials, mobilizations.
Yeah.
Do not do the bullshit line item, and they're all doing it now. Everybody is, even the good ones. They're putting, will require as many mobilizations as it takes to complete scope. Fuck you. I don't give a fuck. It's 2. You get 2. After 2, it's this per machine. And I make them put it in the contract.
That's how mine's been forever.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it used to be, it was, they'd at least be realistic, look at your proposal and go, okay, he's going to need to come twice. And they put 2 mobilizations. Now they're just like, oh, I don't want to pay for that. Well, too bad. You can't schedule the job correctly. That's not my problem.
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't know they were getting that way.
Oh, yeah, they're getting like that about it. And then the other one they're getting you on is they won't sign off on grades anymore.
Well, it's because their own topo guy can't even fucking shoot grades.
It's not that. You ask them to send their surveyor out to verify grades now?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, it's like an act of Congress.
Well, because they don't want to pay that $2,500 for them to come out in there.
Well, yeah, that too. But it's also to know that you're done, and if there's any screw-ups, I got to pay you to fix it. They don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper to you pay your guys and burn your own diesel and move your tractors instead of me paying you to do it. Why would I do that?
I haven't experienced that, but that's wild.
Yeah,
Hell with that.
It's getting that way.
Yeah.
And it's because of the market, and I get it. Everybody's got a nut they got to make, and that's great. But that's why you got to be proactive as hell about this shit.
Yep. Otherwise, it goes shit in a handbasket.
Yeah. Well, hey, guys, my producer is looking like she wants to kill me. So we overran our episode a little bit, Doc.
Hey, I'm the 4-hour guy.
I know. This is the Sean Ryan podcast tonight. Shout out to Mr. Sean Ryan. I've never met him, but he's a pretty solid dude, I can tell. But Doc, how can we get a hold of you?
Usually my phone number. That's about all I care to. I try to stay off of social media anymore. You could Google Dirt Guy Excavation and find my phone number. That's where I'm at.
My phone number.
Yeah. Cell phone, you could text it. Just don't text me.
I got a pager too, and I got a brick phone in the truck.
Yeah, don't text me any solicited pics. I've had that happen once or twice. I'm like, thing's pretty long, but
damn it,
I didn't appreciate it. They find out your personal number is also on Google. Shit gets wild.
Oh, I bet.
A lot of burner phones sending you weird shit.
I'm at a truck stop in Omaha, Nebraska, and I was just thinking about you.
Yeah. Not too far off.
You got to put on your shit like no lot lizards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you would, guys, give us our 5 stars on Spotify. Give a like, rate, and review on Apple. Subscribe and like, share, and subscribe on YouTube if you would. And we're just having a blast on the show, man, and appreciate all the love and support from everybody. And thank you for coming on again, as always, my brother.
Yeah, no problem. I just bring the value of entertainment, not a whole lot of dirt.
Whatever,
we just talk dirt, and then we bring the entertainment. I watched all your bougie guys come on. I was like, oh, shit, they're getting detailed.
Getting the bougie.
Not me.
I'm not a Ferrari. I'm a fucking Pinto, bro.
Exactly.
Here to party.
I'm missing a wheel. Lost in Louisville.
Anyways, guys, as always, thanks for listening, and we'll see y'all next time.